philosophically. Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm so glad to be here. Today is Teachers' Day, and gurus of gurus are here, right? So I don't know, grand gurus are here. We have Professor Kincha, Professor Sonde. You have been guru to so many gurus who are having further gurus. So this all I don't know how long deep it will go. Thank you for being here and still being active. This shows that India is going to be the knowledge house because of people like you are here. Excellent. And Professor Sadgopalan, I have been working with him as part of one of the committees. I have come here 2 times over. And I find that, he is the person who can bring diverse people together and get the things done, very effectively. I don't know whether you guys will agree with that or not, but this is what I noticed when I worked with him. Also, Professor Nandi is here. Okay, we also have Professor Vijay. Then my, co-panelist, Dr. Srinidhi, Alok Day, who brought me here. We are now understanding each other, and we are finding that we are doing a lot of things together. Also, Dr. Das, I meet him, very often, and then we always have equation, frequency match, without impedance. Yes. Dr. Ritesh Kale. Okay. And Jalendra, I think, he need to work in CDOT for a few months at least. If nothing else, he can become an intern. Because he had difficulty in pronouncing name CDOT, Okay, Dr. Rustagi, also my friends from IESA and so many paper presenters here, students, media.
A lot more students will join after that program.
This is what happens, sir.
Another half an hour.
Okay, delegates and students. I think, this is a great opportunity for me to communicate with like-minded people. Like-minded because we all are pursuing something in life, right? And some people are pursuing science, some people are pursuing communication, some people are pursuing the, academics, but the goal is only one, taking India somewhere. Okay, that's why we are all here. Otherwise, each one of us could have been in the United States. I am aware of that, including students, right? But we are here, that shows that we care. And that's why I said so. This is 150 year of Mahatma. Now, a very, very powerful year, but this also shows, what we have to do. And ADCOM, how it was born, I wish there were more sanctions on India. And unfortunately, nobody is putting 77. We had the sanctions in India in computer. We designed, TIFR designed TDC, and I got an opportunity to work, design the first communication controller for a computer called TDC 316, which became very popular in all LIC offices. We had now 1980s where we had ADCOM, So I am looking for more sanctions to happen, and some sort of sanctions have started to happen in 5G area. I think we have to seek opportunity from this. So 150 years of great Mahatma, what I did is that I have about 45 minutes or so. And what I'm going to do is that talk about the trends and where we have to align, where the telecommunication is going, where the computing is going, and so that we can understand and ask questions. The inquisitiveness is the fundamental to progress. That's why what I talked about, that electrons are giving way to photons. Okay? And we don't know whether the photons are particle or wave or both, right? Because the Einstein's theory and Planck's equation, they have never got settled, as even now. So we don't know. And my take is that they are both, they change. Because, different avatars, they take in different, conditions. But we don't know enough. But one thing is certain in telecommunications, electrons, are being replaced by photons very, very quickly. Electrical systems in communications is giving way to optical systems consequently, and copper-based transport, so copper rests in peace. As they say, buried in the ground, relax there. And optical fiber is what? So silica meets silica, okay? Nothing to do with the copper or aluminum for that matter. That's what is happening. So meeting of two silicas together. Second one is the routing and switching of packets. So we have worked great deal for about 10 years and maybe beyond when the first RFC was formulated, which came out of the California Valley. We wanted flexibility of packets. We wanted packets should go and hit wherever they can hit, but should reach the final goal. That's giving way to low latency and dynamic configuration of the network. What it means is, for me, latency is becoming important than the flexibility. Routing is giving way to software-defined networks. It means that I want to define what networks will do, right? Then you have the control and data plane forwarding, and now separation of control and data forwarding. These are all getting together. Earlier on, packet is a packet is a packet, right? Some teachers used to talk. I'm sure Rustagi will be teaching like that. Now you have to change. Packet is control and packet is media forwarding, and these two are separate. And that's how the whole trend is getting into becoming more efficient. And we don't even know, we have not experienced 5G as to the configuration of 150 millisecond and 10 milliseconds data forwarding. How are they going to meet the application's requirement? Indoor Wi-Fi is now becoming outdoor Wi-Fi. 20 kilometers line of sight, put Wi-Fi, it works beautifully. The Wi-Fi by far is becoming very, very important component of all this standardization, but quietly. What is happening is that today, I will tell you C-dot is where the world is. So we have Wi-Fi 6, access point that is giving 2.6 gigabit per second, and it will be very soon it will go to 4 or 5 gigabit per second. Now, are we going to wait for 5G to arrive and do 10 gigabit? Or I will put two systems in tandem and try to distribute 10 gig? Is a question which is very interesting, and I will try to seek the answer of that. Low speed, last meter Wi-Fi has become high speed kilometers Wi-Fi. Getting out of and leading work has been done by C-dot in this. We named all of these things, long distance Wi-Fi. Then we named solar Wi-Fi. Solar Wi-Fi, we didn't have battery, so it will work only when sun comes, but at least it will work. Okay? So we came up, balloon Wi-Fi, who put the Wi-Fi on balloon so that we can penetrate the rural villages and not get dampened by the trees. Okay? So the Wi-Fi is very, very exciting phase right now, because you will be surprised, a lot of things in 5G are going to come from Wi-Fi. And some things are going to come from fiber. Okay? So all the encoding schemes. So if you want to learn what will happen in telecommunications, formal license area, learn about what is happening in IEEE 802.11 ABC, GN, AX, AY, okay, all these things will teach you the latest efficiencies which are coming in the. Then we have Li-Fi to Protos to Li-Fi deployment. It has just begun. What it means? I hope nobody will be able to regulate the visual spectrum. Okay? So I am seeing you, somebody regulates, I have to pay license fees. Now, I don't think anybody will accept that, because that is possible. That means somebody says, I have auctioned all the visual license to somebody, so now you only wear these glasses and only you can see in 1 degree angle, and that is the only free things. Remaining all will be chargeable. So I hope that will not be happening, because we are living in a democracy. Consequently, Li-Fi is actually going to become very powerful tool, because I'm seeing the first sign or a sprout of they becoming really systems. And what is happening is that the deployment scenarios of cell and microcell and nanocell is giving way to the positioning of all these things in 3 dimension, 4 dimension, and all the time some light is coming to you and you're able to communicate. So this is the trend which is worth looking at. Then what is happening is that people say, what is new? Some of the students who may be studying, and I'm sure even professors, said, I have been hearing about all these sensor-based network, ad hoc networks, for my lifetime. I have done PhD 10 years back talking about how the ad hoc networks will work. So what is so new about the whole sensor-based thing that 5G is going to bring about? The difference is that something that was working in the enterprise domain, where the control was with the enterprise, or in your home domain, is coming as a public utility. And that's a very, very big difference. Anything that comes in the utility form, the shape and size of that, the kind of regulations, the kind of safety, the kind of participation of community, the kind of application becomes enormous. It almost becomes internet, right? Internet, as long as it was in the lab, it was only saying hello world or something like that, right? Now it is saying world hello, right? So the whole stuff has changed tremendously, and interactive to autonomous. Now this you guys will understand very well, the autonomous computing and AI-based systems, cognitive systems, the trend. Consequently, the logical expression of, to the human, which was done by the computer in form of analytics and reports, is actually becoming machine learning. What it means is that machines will actually will have cognition. It's a fundamental change, actually. I'm not that impressed with the artificial intelligence. I'm impressed with the cognitive abilities. Why? Because cognitive abilities are fundamentally grown in every living thing. A small, vine or bale, jisko Hindi mein bolte hain, that can decide where to go, which direction the sun is, and the entire vine actually shifts in that direction. Also, it shades some of the tree, leaves from the other side. This is the example of collective cognitive ability to create the autonomous systems, right? Consequently, we have the smart to learning, analytics to autonomous, and holds opinion. They will not listen to you. These machines will not listen to you. If Google servers have designed their own language, to avoid the interruption by the human being, you can understand if they start having their own opinion, what will happen. Machine to fulfill ambition to ambitious machines, right? You're seeing now, right now, the machines are learning how they will walk 10 steps. But they learn, and then they walk 10 steps, but they are becoming very, very quickly ambitious machines. Some part of this is not in the research domain, not published yet. It is with the enterprises, but this is what is happening. So correlated experimentation of experimental human learning to big data-based learning. It means that what I talked about, at some point in time, the machines will be actually challenging our abilities. Okay? They will challenge our abilities. They'll say, you're stupid. You can't work faster. 1/7 of a second is a hell lot of time. And it takes for you to recognize a movement 1/7 of a second. You call it reflex. And I can do so much in 10 milliseconds, man. Okay? So what will happen? I have to slow down the operation when it is going on. Otherwise, it will operate without my intervention. Then I'll be in trouble, right? Because human beings are required to take the responsibility. We need somebody to hang. Okay, so human-oriented to humanity-oriented and ethical. This dimension IEEE has started to work on certification of AI systems on the ethical dimensions. I would recommend that people who are working in humanities actually should look at how to make these machines not behave in an erratic manner going forward, because when they become ambitious, we have to put controls. Security, something which was safety, is becoming secure and safe, and security by policy is becoming security by design. What we used to say, you have firewall, you put policies in that, so packets will not come, consequently we will be safe. Now here what we are saying is, where is the MACSEC protocol, right? I mean, I'm so sure somebody has worked on Phi here, they will say, this is part of Phi. Physical layer. Why should it be going to the upper layer? The answer is everything that we are designing, we have to security become part of design. Functional dominance to security dominance, practically. Security dominance. Okay, access network, 4G to 5G, we'll talk more about it. 10 gigabit to 100 gigabit, we'll talk more about it. Fiber. By the way, CDOT has already put a PON, passive optical network, of the capacity by increasing the capacity by 10 times over the same infrastructure. It's called XGS PON. X stands for 10, G stands for gigabit, S stands for symmetrical. So XGS is 10 gigabit symmetrical. It means you could put server in every home and you don't have to go to data center. So the edge computing, what we are talking about, the whole damn thing is ready. We are going to launch in about 6 months a 40 gig WDM PON. It means that you could define now slices within the system over the lambda, and it will guarantee you the performance at the speed of light. Nothing can be more than the speed of the light. So this system is already available with us for experimentation and also deployment. We're going to deploy this in the field. We already got. So all panchayats which are having 10 Mbps as of now will be able to give you 1 gig to 10 gig guaranteed without changing the existing infrastructure, just adding one card, and that card will start giving you PON system, which is 10 gig, and will be upgraded to 40 gig. Copper access to Wi-Fi, point-to-point radio, all of that, right? Offline, near real-time to real-time interactive. Near real-time. Now, how do you define these terms, near real-time? It means that when human cannot perceive, so all concept of real time is built around human abilities. It will go off from the human abilities and will actually be going in real time interactive. Okay. Now node based computing will give way to the network based computing, edge, core, cloud. All this will undergo I think people who are working on cloud have to really think that cloud is a collaborative instrument. It's not a computing device. It's not a storage device. It is no longer confined to those boundaries of the network. It has to be going to the edge. There has to be protocols written across the edge and the cloud. And we have to find out where the information is. The applications have to move from country X to country Y in real time to provide you the best performance with their own cognitive abilities should define where they have to reside, like how human beings decide where they have to live. Where you're required is where you go. Applications have to be mobile. That's what I mean by having the network-based computing, and you can't put them in the boundaries consequently. The grand improvement of the performance of hardware is commoditization of the hardware. Yesterday, somebody was complaining to me, sir, I'm not able to get a server. I said, what do you mean? Don't you have server? Why have you not put virtualization? He said, he has done, but I only can get 64 core. I wanted more core on this virtual machine. I said, what? 64 core? I have worked on a computer that was having 4K main memory. And I used to program with my fingers. And you are complaining 64 core is not sufficient for your application. So consequently, commoditization of the hardware has got completed. Physical identity to virtual identity. Big problem, big solution. God, what's going to happen? If my router, where it is routing, I don't know. What security you're talking about? If I don't know where my media packet forwarder is, I don't know where from it is coming. It's all virtualization, untamed, undefined, unstandard, or standardized to some extent, is not sufficient for defining the virtual identity of the machine and humans and the edge devices. Consequently, but this is happening in front of us. We need to be worried, or at least not be excited, because when you are worried, you are excited. So social collaboration based exclusion of community, because I have created blockchain. I heard blockchain, great work is getting done. I am actually thinking that blockchain is an exclusion. It's a big problem. Before we put, all the big bad guys have told us how to create Bitcoin using that, to get away from the government. Now the corporates and everybody is forming syndicate to get away from the rest of the society. Does it bring about this transparency that we are looking at? I'm not saying blockchain is a bad thing. I'm saying, how do we do that? We need to have standardization. We need to have participation. We need to have all these encryption algorithms available to the people who need to have it, whom you can trust. It has to be distributed. The transparency and the exclusion of the community is giving inclusion of the global society. And local communities are giving to global communities. We see all of this. I don't have to explain. Local ecology is becoming global collaboration. Role of experience is being replaced by role of creativity and energy. If you are not creative, only experiencing something will not be sufficient. After you experience, then what? What? What are you going to create? How it is going to impact your brain cells are going to convert something into creative. That's where the challenge is having as of now. And the optimal use of resources to save the planet. I mean, we are already know about it. But what is this 5G? 5G is like a genie. Everybody sees. In this picture, you can see everything is everybody will say this all is part of the 5G. Belief in transformation, identity, determination, everything. All these keywords which we have used in our computer science papers are all here. And everybody thinks this is what 5G will do for me. So let's tell this genie, okay, that we all collectively think something, okay, or we are trying to explore what it means for us. So why this slide I prepared in 2010, it has not changed since then, okay. And what it says is that the smart management and software-oriented systems require 1 gig. Sensor and actuators require 10 gig. Video requires 40 gig. And optical access and aggregation requires 100 gig. And to prove, I'm going to talk about why it is so quickly, right? So this is what the Mbps gone. I think we should remove kbps. Mbps should look like kbps, worth nothing, right? And why? I'll tell you 128 AES. How many people know what is the encryption standard, right? Most of us know. With the quantum computer coming in, it means 0. Because it can be broken. Computational hardness is no longer a guarantee for us to devise mechanisms that can protect something. Because computational hardness, due to the commoditization and also advancement in the real-time computing capabilities, is going to give a paradigm when all old things that we have done will be 0 in terms of security or the protection, right? Consequently, it is important for us to look at 100 gig kind of a connectivity when you give to some processor or set of processor or a computing cloud, what the heck it should do? Can it do in real time all the things that you want with deep packet inspections? The answer is yes, but can it do it for terabits and terabits of the data that will be coming there? For how long? What kind of encryption algorithms will be required? So all of this is also an issue. So I will very quickly go, all of you know this. Fiber-like access, comparable, so you have the 0 latency, excellent experience. This is all common sense. We all know that will require smooth control, variety of the devices, services, blah, blah, right? So, and now we also know that 2025G is coming. Okay, consequently, your devices which is going to come about will be interesting device. Whether you will require a device at all or not, people are debating that. Why should you require a device? Why should, you should be walking around just like that. And there should be some sensor which will pick up everything and do that. We all know Alexa do this. We all know Siri, you do this. We all know projection on my palm. Are we going to be a wearable devices or we are going to carry a mobile phone which is so uncomfortable to carry in the pocket? We have to really think. Integration and disintegration is nature of the engineering. We have seen people coming together, clouds happening, and I'll argue that clouds will vanish away in a minute. So why it is happening? Because the video is becoming the primary driver for networks. So video requires a lot of bandwidth, so to say, packets to be given. That's why this is becoming defining things. But what will happen in the day-to-day consumption? You will require 200 Gbps per month. If very soon, now GeoFiber is coming. What they are giving first day, first show. Okay? So old people like me, Let me qualify so that nobody gets hurt here, okay? Will actually think, yeah, on the first day, first show, free of cost. So I will watch 4 hours movie and I will require 200 gig per month kind of consumption. And so the old email, all of that is gone. Why is this? It's like a masala in the sabji. You require only a little bit, right? But this is so that's why 5G is running, and then 2022, it will be deployment, and we want it to run even 2023, it will be 1 billion devices, 1.3 billion devices, all projections. But they are coming true to some extent from the United States experiment that we see. Also the NB-IoT, there are 57 trials that are already happening, and everybody wants to do 5G, so 29 deployments already happened. And most of the things can be done by LTE, so LTE is being used right now for many things, right? So nobody is dying because of 5G as of now. But we don't know whether people will die because of 5G, because real time, if power goes, if somebody, a fiber he takes and he shakes, okay, and you have higher bit rate, error rate which is coming, right? Then what will happen? Now we have to see all those practical scenarios. So nobody is dying as of now because of because there is no 5G. But you will have all these intelligent transport and all of that, right? Utility, surveillance, virtual reality. I mean, it's all hyped. Only point I want to make here is transpose each one of these on Indian conditions. God, I don't know, really, right? Stadium, how big a stadium we require? Cricket stadium. How big is the freeway? There are more people in Chandni Chowk than a stadium can ever hold. On a auto rickshaw, there are 10 guys. Okay? Even though we have defined in 10 gig that what will be the per square meter density, that will be energy which will go. But we have to transpose all of this in something. We have to really look at that, right? So another interesting part is that 5G is everybody's cup of tea and nobody's responsibility, right? So you have regulators who will regulate everything. So how do I regulate? The ITS means transport system has to be regulated. TRAI has to regulate the telecommunication. The health ministry has to regulate the operations which go on. Everybody has to regulate. So there are a lot of regulators. Standard bodies. Today, this morning in Bangalore, we had 3 standard bodies of India talking to each other and agreeing on 1M, 2M should be the standard for IoT. Okay, which were these? We have had the BIS, we had TIA of USA, we had NC, we had the TEC, we had TSDSI. To get to, all these guys to agree, it takes 5 years. Okay, so that is the dynamics which goes on. And then spectrum regulation, we all know about this. I will not, all of पढ़े लिखे लोग हैं सब, तो क्या बता know the spectrum के बारे में. Spectrum is bit north, right? Regulator, then certification, all of those, and then you have vendors, and then operators will negotiate with each other. So this is what is the dynamics needs to be watched. That it is not only technology game, it is a game of putting something in public domain. Consequently, whatever we have learned is also need to be done. Another interesting thing that I picked up from NST, which is the National Security Toolkit open source. This is a network of an enterprise. It's just so complicated. The damn thing is so complicated that CCNPs and CCNBs and all the CCs are not able to solve this problem. So that's why NCT has to come and put these probes to figure out what the heck is going on. So many probes everywhere you put to figure out what's happening in your network. This whole damn thing is so complicated that this is what need to be simplified. Consequently, the 3 cloud architecture which has been talked about, whether it will be obsolete very soon, we will discuss that. Okay, and then what is going to happen with the 5G timeline? I think this is a little bit encouraging that it's going to pick up and then peak sometime. So 5G is going to peak somewhere around 2040, but it will start happening from 2020. And so we have time. So at least you have some 20 years to monetize. Now somebody will argue this is not true, but in India mein to hone hi wala hai. We don't throw our old pen that we purchased in our childhood till the time everything goes. We don't throw our anything, right? We are not a throwing country. We are simply garbage collecting country, and my wife says so. Okay, so consequently, by 2020, global subscription is projected to be becoming so many millions. So 2G, 3G, 4G, and 5G is just kind of on the top notch. It's beginning in 2021, and before that is all experimental. So it's 2-3 years away. There are serious deployments, and my take on that is it will begin because of the application, because people are willing to pay for some service. It has not happened because the people want more bandwidth and all that, right? So that's what is going to happen. So you have today's closed boxes will give to the open and all of that. Very easily said and done. Everybody agrees on this now. NFV, SDN, CRAN, mobile content distribution network. All of these are happening. Massive MIMO, full duplex, NOMA, enhanced multi-core. With all these papers people have written. So why should I explain? If you have a question, you can ask me later. Okay. So essentially you have certain technologies, and which everything is evolving as of now in the 5G. But one thing which is happening is that you have the offload on Wi-Fi. You see, this one is very interesting diagram. 2G, the Wi-Fi offload was 31%, remaining all data used to go here. In 3G, it became 45-55. In 4G, it is offload on Wi-Fi is more. And only 30% goes on the actual network, and now it is going to become actually 48-49. So Wi-Fi is here to stay. You offload in your house. You pay for the electricity, you buy the router, you buy everything, you maintain it. What can be better than that for the service provider? So, and I use it for giving you service. Okay. In fact, I have designed a system which actually takes power from the community. Okay. So you have no power connection there. Once somebody start using it, start driving power, and it sits on a pole. Okay. But more important issues are going to emerge in this all stuff. Heat. This is a major problem. All these 10 gig SFPs, why we did not push them in a little slot? Because DSP was generating so much heat. You touch the DSP chip, okay, you have to take out your hand. There was so much processing which was going on. And then DSP algorithms which have been optimized, after that, it has become then heat dissipators. A lot of things have happened. So heat is going to be a major mechanical problem, energy supply, all of this, this is going to be guzzling a lot of the, other areas also. So now let me come to India, back. My favorite, close to my heart, mind, and now my pocket also. I paid by the government. Okay. They don't pay sufficient. I would agree with all of you. But still, this is my choice, which I made a few years back. Sometimes you get stupid and you do right things. Okay. Expectation of $1 trillion telecom sector in next 4 years. Wonderful, good. How it is going to happen? Number one is that voice is saturating. Okay. Only rural area 59%. But can we say that everybody has to have one mobile phone? I don't know. Is it part of the literacy? I don't know. People don't have needs. That's why they're not. When they go out to city, they need phone. So this is something may go up, but overall you have 150 tele density. So this is something we can say, other than rural area, saturated voice. And so current networks are also getting saturated. Also, the players are merging with each other. Consequently, the revenues are dropping, and it is natural phenomena, right? It is a natural phenomena, but very painful for even government, right? Because they used to getting all that money. Now, what is happening is that the broadband subscription, this is where there is still a lot of money to be made, right? 511 million. So next big thing from revenue perspective is all there, and we have the telephone which is done. We have the broadband which is going to come along. So what is government doing? By the way, don't think that people are stupid in the government. Some people have that. Even if it is right, don't think that. Okay. It is like a side channel attack. Okay. So they are smart guys, so they know all the right words to write there, right? I mean, it's wonderful documents. Electronics policy. You know, we have a friend from IESA, 10 years, same thing which is being published repeatedly. $4 billion worth of manufacturing. I don't know when it will become $5 billion, okay, in India. But one good thing happened, telecom this time has brought about NDCP. And I think those who are having cynical view about the government policies will read this. They talk about all the things. Wonderful NDCP, which is actually defining target, talking about technology. Why? Because we wanted to be technology agnostic in our policy. Bullshit. How can you be technology agnostic on something which is core, whose core is there in the technology? First time I'm seeing NDCP talking about AI, IoT and all of that stuff, right? Talking about fiber. All that is there, part of it. So I love it. And so this is all what we have taken as, this is all initiatives, the Stand Up India, Financial Inclusion, Skill India and all that, right? And also rural solar program is coming. So you have power now there. Rural tower infrastructure is there. Rural electrification program is coming along. So it's enabling everything. BharatNet is something that has happened. We might be also saying that it's not working, but it's not because of technology, not because of policy, it is because of something else, to the extent. Another thing that we need to understand, sir, is satellite. Satellite is changing the game. Once again, something that gave us the global connectivity of the voice is now coming big time, guys. High throughput satellites, beamforming from the, high altitude satellite platforms, HASP. You have the LEOs and GEOs and MEOs all rotating all around, right? In fact, there is a parking slot problem in the satellites. Okay, because there is a, ITU has parking slot that you have to register, and then where you will park your satellite. That is becoming a big problem. So this parking slot problem is actually, we have solved to some extent by hitting one and hitting our own. So this might be a good business to get into subsequently, right? Catch, hit the satellite and get the debris back. Contract. So, but satellite is very serious, The whole damn thing has started to give 1 gig in a beam, okay? And they are saying that it is becoming fiber. I mean, that's too much to say. I mean, satellite cannot become fiber, okay? I'll argue it if some satellite lover is here. But satellite is everywhere. This is really energy which is getting focused in form of the beam. India has, telecommunication department has launched its own satellite through ISRO. And they are connecting all over the country. And I did not know about it till the time, they kept it away from me because CDOT comes and they will build the system. But I was thinking independently, so I went to Eutelsat and we did an interop of the Wi-Fi with them saying that, it can be used for video distribution. Subsequently, ADCOM and ISRO after that. And then we came back to DOT. They said, oh, you have something in satellite? Yes, we have. So we came out with something called satellite-based backhaul. And we created a system. I'll talk about it in a minute. So satellite is something, take it seriously now. Those who have written off satellite, please look at back. It is better than copper any day. Okay, but it is going to be a major game changer. Okay, LT, 5G and all of that you have already understood. Broadcasting is undergoing change in India as well, right? Broadcasting is going to define the bandwidth one more time because it's video. Then, this is NDCP that I was talking about. Please do read it, okay? You will be happy to note that a lot of things have been happening here. So these all what happened in 5G. I am part of the 5G high-level forum, okay? And I am always concerned that all these guys coming from abroad, from X and Y and G, what are they going to do? It's like poor men sitting in the village. सरकार बजट में क्या लाने वाला है? ओके, सब जानते हैं क्या लाने वाला है. हमको भी पता है कि ट्रायल में क्या होने वाला है. Okay, so but still I was part of this and I contributed in one way जिसमें कोई contribute नहीं करना चाहता तो उसमें they made me chairman of that particular task force called IPR task force. Okay, so I said what IPR? It doesn't exist. People think that there is no IPR exists in India. Nothing patented here. So I put somebody to do the study, and India always surprises you. 2% of the total IPR was filed by Indians. Okay, Indians means in our 2%. I said this is very encouraging. I thought it is 0. So now we should pool all these IPR, and all the institutions should come together, create a IPR pool, and that IPR pool should be used as negotiating plank, that if you come to India, you are coming in my turf where my IPR and patent exists, so you better let us agree that we will not sue each other, right? So your standard essential patent get traded with my patents which are here, and then we are able to have some degree of negotiating capability. Okay, but coming back, so this all all work is going on, and use case, easiest to write is use case, right? So somebody can say, automated connected बैलगाड़ी. Can be there, यार, who knows, right? Big challenge. बैलगाड़ी को कैसे चलाना तेज, चला तो टूट जाएगा. I mean, all use case, right? Likewise, we have use case of all medicines and everything, right? Common sense use cases are being glorified and put. About 12 of them are there. You can read. You can read on Google, you can read on the paper which is published by TEC. I don't want to be hypercritical because it actually helps people to define what trials are going to happen, and the trials are another big joke. Why I'm calling it joke? Such a serious stuff. That is because I am in IIIT Bangalore. Nobody knows. This is a academic freedom which will protect me from my opinion being expressed. And nobody can attack the academic freedom of academicians. Consequently, I can talk about it, okay? So, what is 5G? It's a joke. You are putting one antenna here on Sanchar Bhavan, another in Connaught Place, giving it huge amount of bandwidth and saying it gives you 1 gig. And it will give? Who knows, it will not give. Whether you do trial here in India or you do in Timbuktu, the waves are going to go and then hit the other side, and you will have it. So what is the India trial? It could be trial in anywhere. In fact, you will have better trial in Sahara desert. Okay, hopefully. Consequently, the 5G trial that I want should be solving Indian problems here. Solve one Indian problem, showcase that it works. That is why I am using my academic freedom to express my opinion, okay? So the application layer standards are being written. Now this is another good time pass exercise. 5G has already defined what it will give you. It has also defined how you will connect an application to 5G systems, including IoT is already defined by standard bodies. 1M, 2M, which is supposed to be a standard body defining for IoT, has already defined how it is going to work on 5G. Okay, and then you have a middle, a common services layer, everything defined. But we are debating how our great software companies are going to become part of 5G. And one thing I grant, and I would also claim that I don't know enough, is that your sector-specific standardization need to be married to 5G, so that your taxonomy, the whole definition of like temperature can be Tapman, can be degree Celsius, can be Fahrenheit, can be done French in something else. Everybody world should understand temperature means temperature. Touch gets. How do you define that? That work is getting done in some standard bodies. And consequently, application layer standards, when they were debated, they wanted to change 5G. They said you should change the 5G. One paper that I read was asking me to change the MME to have the light crypto somewhere. Okay? I said, "Bhaiya, this is all done deal. 5G is 5G. You know how to use this. Don't start questioning. And now you want to change the radio wave propagation to accommodate some application that you have. This all is passe. You will have entire life gone, but you will not be able to change one bit. Entire India is not able to change one LMLC. LMLC is a contribution from India, TSDSI. They went to 3GPP. 3GPP said, no, we are not going to change. Make it India specific. Then COI is saying, don't make it India specific, because 5G trial will get delayed. They are also saying that no change. We will follow the world standard only in India. So debate is going on. And here is one research paper who is telling me how to change the protocols in MME. So I try to explain that to a student. In fact, it was a professor, professor. So I told him, sir, don't try this. This is too big. And he got upset when I said, we will discuss this whole thing. So don't try to change 5G, use it. That's what is happening here. Standardization is a process. It will go on for some time, good time for standardization, guys. And then I will kind of skip this. Telecom industry, everybody knows what is happening. Okay, skip. Okay, all government is doing, all these slides say government is doing great thing. They know what is 5G. Okay, let me come to this slide also has not changed since 2009. Not a single bit of change. So what I'm saying is the problems are different in India. Let us define our own problem and our own solution. Problem is basic livelihood, survival, basic health, basic education, decent lifestyle, connecting to knowledge economy, social acceptance in the changing society, unity in diversity, languages and all that, security. 5% of the income can only be spent on communication. In a downturn, how will you have 10,000 crore worth of investment, and then what will be your break-even point? All these things have to be thought through. And consequently, we are not Times Square. We are this. We are not Shanghai. Okay? So now let us debate how we can do this. Okay? This is again, I brought Mahatma Gandhi here because unquestionable leader of India, right? Satya. Wi-Fi is poor man's 5G. I described a little bit of this. Okay? This is what, when I sent it to Wi-Fi guys, they said, no, 5 guys will come and beat us, so don't say this. I said, no, I am in IIT, triple ITB, I have my academic freedom of expression, I will use it. All right, now another concept that I want to bring along, and I want criticism on this, online, offline, or whenever you catch me, I want to call it Khadi electronics for Indian social change. The charkha which was there, was it a great deal of technology? Was it something which was not there? It changed. It drew away the economic dependence that we had. We were importing everything. And we started wearing khadi clothes. And that has led to the change in the mindsets of the world in terms of having dependence of India gone away. And why can't we use something which is as simple as Wi-Fi? There are manufacturers who will give you board, there are people who will give you packaging, there are people who can assemble it. It's so easy to assemble. So regional assemblers and then village level people should support their own village. So then it becomes a khadi electronics. And everything we should design that our villagers need should be in such a way that they are participating. Because Mahatma Gandhi said, today there is such an onslaught on India of Western machinery that for India to withstand it successfully would be nothing short of a miracle. 7/11/1946. Read it today. Read it. Doesn't require any explanation. What is the cause of the present chaos? It is exploitation, and it will not say of the weaker nation by the stronger nation, but sister nation by sister nation. And the fundamental objection to the machine rests on the fact that it is a machinery that has enabled these nations to exploit others. In itself, it is a wooden thing and can be turned to a good purpose or bad. But it is easily turned into the bad purpose, as we know. Security, insecurity. The guy is dead so many years back, 150 years back. You see, what have we learned? And there are people who have given their lives, but they have given it slowly, bits and bits and every day. This is what is really, that's why Khadi electronics. And why Wi-Fi I talked about, 525 billion is the total economic value, 8 billion devices are in use, 3 billion new devices are being added, and you have 850 billion by 2025. It's a big stuff, the Wi-Fi alone. And we can't make Wi-Fi in the villages. Why? I don't know. Frankly, I find it very laughable. Board lena hai. We get boards of the motherboard from China. We assemble it here in Lajpat Nagar. The guy doesn't know how a hard disk works. But we can't put a Wi-Fi together. I don't know. right? So that's why, this is what do you see in this picture? This is the real problem. What is this? This is fish, or it is a stork that eats fish. We are not able to know. Are we supplier or are we consumer? The reality is, this is the picture. You don't know who is who. Consequently, we are always fish being taken by the storks. They eat us. Okay? So, fairness in exporting to India involve local manpower and production, job creation. How is it possible that we have, I think IESA is here, and we also have made guys, sometimes I meet them, kaisa ho raha bhai? So many $1 billion worth of export, and engineers are 5 million without job. And every year we are adding 1 million engineers. What the heck is going on? Engineers are short everywhere in the globe, except in India. And they are not worth of manufacturing. They can't put the screwdriver, 10,000 rupees, 12,000 rupees. What the heck is going on? We have not learned the local manpower and production. Singapore changed their labor force, which was lifting on their back, into the computer operators. Japan changed. You think in Japan everybody is very high IQ? They became a manufacturing country. They became designing country. My whole issue is that exports are not happening because of various things. Do not harm the local industry. Okay, keep the trade balance in mind when you do trade with somebody. Nothing of this is against WTO. Okay, no dumping, price cutting, unfair trade practices. Very nice. Let me give you an example. Indian manufacturer, government Indian manufacturer. Okay, who is supposed to actually okay. No worries.
I just said Guru.
Yeah. Oh, I met Professor Ramani sometime. Namaskar, sir. Namaskar.
Professor Rajaram.
Huh?
Professor Rajaram, father of Indian computer.
Wow.
We are all going to felicitate him after the
Oh.
Watch out for the step. That's one step here. Okay.
Namaskar.
Sir, one more step. One more step.
Allow me to touch your feet, sir.
Please. Yeah, Dr.
All right. So now that gurus, gurus of gurus, now we have one more layer of gurus here.
Just step one step. You can come there.
You need three.
Go on.
Going round and round.
What no dumping and the example no dumping. That was the example you were.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, the fairness in exporting to India. Okay. Yeah, so dumping the dumping is changing the face, but it is happening. How it is happening is, so I was talking about the manufacturing organization in India. So, they involve the local manpower I talked about. Do not harm the local industries would be our priority. Keep the trade balance in mind when we do trade with people. No dumping, price cutting, unfair trade practices. CDOT was posed. Now we are in a global world with the global competition, with the all tenders coming along. So CDOT manufacturers, 25 of them, 91 technology transfer. Every time they paid me money, I owed them to give them the market projections, and then they bid in something called GPON. Nobody knew that India can make GPON. So there was a Chinese company, there was an American company, And then there was unknown manufacturers. And we were very, very scared. And somebody asked me a question. If price of a particular country can be dropped to any level, how will you compete with them? I said, they have to know how much to drop. So let's find out how much they have dropped before. We'll drop more than that. I said, how will we do that? They fight with their hands, we'll fight with our minds. Now they had, my engineers had no answer for that. I'll finish very quickly. I know. Yeah, I'm on the light. Yeah, sure. So that's what happened. And then we won by 2.9 times lower than the nearest competition. Next time we beat them by 40% after declaration. Third time again. Now somebody will change the game. Okay? So they find out the loophole and defeat the purpose, right? Do not create an artificial barrier like stopping the supply. This is another thing that we have to be very careful now. Supplies of the semiconductor is next threat that we are seeing. We are happy that it's not happening to India, but we have to see what to do. Weak rupee is not good for trade partners because none of the developing countries have weak rupee, weak currency. We tout that our exports will become more competitive, as if we only going to export sabji bhaji. What about high technology? That's why, so we have designed something called CSAT-5. I talked about this. Works on satellite, it merges Wi-Fi, it works on solar. It gives you all telecommunication services. All telecommunication services, voice, video, data, edge computing. Also created a PBX. Then we have our own 4G already. We have our own optical technology. We are as ahead as anybody else in the world because we have DWDM 200 gig per lambda, 16 terabit on single fiber, working in Chennai and going to be working in another place in railways. So this is Wi-Fi we have transformed to do all kind of things. We also have a PDO, public data office, like PCOs, where you can give all the internet services. We have solved so many problems through application. We also have a WhatsApp of India called Samvad. And we also have the world's first common services platform standard compliant, designed by CDOT. Got it standardized in 1M, 2M, got it standardized in TSDSI, got it adopted by ITU. It's going to become the country's first national standard, where the first bit was done by Indians and got the global collaboration. I'm done. Okay? Now, I'm very afraid of, now, all right, okay. Then I have an assignment for all the people here. Okay? Last slide almost. Will the decloudification for application happen? Will there be decloudification? New term, decloudification. Okay? Will it happen? And I argue it will happen. IP networks will be changed to, after all fiber network. Okay? I can argue partially. It will happen. Will quantum communication change the quantum computing? Okay? Will machine grow beyond the human comprehension? Comprehension, okay, not capability. Will there be syndicated collaborative machine learning? Syndicated collaborated machine learning. Will there be intervention in the human and genetics by machine? These are the questions. Last, I wanted to leave. What 5G or no 5G, the question will remain. They will come in front of us. These are the research things that we talked about. These are references. Thank you very much. Professor Sargoal, namaskaram. Yeah. No, sir. No, I was just kind of taking a little liberty.